Big welcome from the Munich team to Creative Mornings this month. Okay. Yeah, we are really happy to have you here and have this month a very creative talk again. We're looking forward to. And yeah, for all of you who maybe don't know the network Creative Mornings already, it's a global network with 65 countries and 183 cities participating. And it's all based on volunteer work, on creatives who make it possible that you can have some creative time in the morning each month and yeah, listen to some inspiring talks. And we are really happy to have some global partners who make this possible, like MailChimp, Adobe, WordPress. And yeah, they make possible that we have free coffee, location, and some breakfast. And talking about location, you've already seen it. We're at this beautiful space today called Ruby Works, which is a new co-working project in Munich. And where is Tobias?
Here.
Yeah. And I'm handing over to Tobias to give you some information about this beautiful place.
Thank you, Steffi. Good morning, everybody. Warm welcome here at Ruby Works. This is our first co-working space talking about being creative. This place was created for people like you and I. We all love to work and we love our work, but sometimes it gets a little dull to just sit in front of a computer and yeah, do your thing. So what we figured out is you need some kind of change in between work. You need some different areas. So we created these different workspaces here, this public area where you can meet like-minded people like you and I and just talk about your projects, maybe get some inspiration, ideas. Or you meet with people in one of our meeting rooms, get creative right on the walls and do your thing, or you just sit in one of the cozy little comfortable chairs in one of the small rooms and let your brains flow and your thoughts grow. So this place is for you and you're cordially welcome to try it out maybe today. If you want to stay here, just stay here and work a little bit or go on rubyworks.net and book your free trial day. By the way, we just opened also our second space in Hamburg, so whenever you feel like traveling there, just stop by, say hi, come for this delicious coffee. I hope you all tried that. And it's just a little noisy, so I hope we can keep the noise down during the session, but yeah. We also operate hotels, but that's a totally different story. It goes under the motto Lean Luxury. So we stripped away unnecessary things or that we deemed as unnecessary. And one of the hotels is here in Munich. Maybe you want to try it out. It's called Ruby Lily, just around the corner at Stiegelmeierplatz. It has an awesome bar. And we're also happy to announce that we're opening our terrace soon. As soon as it gets a little warmer, you're welcome to sip your cocktails there. We just let you know via the social media channels when it's available. It's a really great place to be. But for now, let's listen to what you have to say and tell us about being creative and have fun. Enjoy the day.
Thanks, Tobias. So before we start and go to our creative chapter, just a small thank you to some partners who made that possible here, like Verival, who sponsored the breakfast for you, and all of our video, photo, and company people who make this possible. It's all volunteer-based, so really happy to have them to capture all that event and make it possible for you to follow online. And this is the team, basically, in Munich. who has different responsibilities and is also, most of them are here today, so just pass by and have a chat if you feel like joining the team or want to participate. So we're always looking out for new sponsors or speakers or locations, so we really need the help of you guys to make that event possible in Munich and keep up the great work. Yeah, so heading on to the topic of this month, you might already have seen it. It's talking about craft. So if you want to post some pictures, just make sure you use the hashtags and feature it correctly so we can follow along. And the topic is craft. So it's illustrated this month by Hemali Vadalia. And it's talking about that we as creatives have our own tools and measures, and sometimes it's really hard to really bring them out, to bring them on paper or on screen or whatever we're doing. And our speaker today will give a little insight on what he has to share about this topic, so we're really excited. But we start with something different. So we maybe start why Arne is not sitting here, who was supposed to sit here, but Marko.
Arne sent some few words for you guys because he couldn't make it today. He's on a shoot in Austria, but he will explain it himself.
Hey guys, this is me, Arne. I'm really sorry, but some of my shooting dates have been changed. So I'm now in Vienna on a shoot, and unfortunately I won't make it to the Creative Mornings in Munich. But instead of me, a friend and fellow director, Marko, he will talk to you guys instead of me. He's a real nice guy. It's going to be a good talk, I guess. But before he starts, I wanted to give you a quick summary or a little insight on what I planned on talking. When I started out making films or commercials, I always thought that as soon as I would make a film that would be as good as my benchmark directors, or as soon as I would receive an award for my work, or if I get paid for my work, basically. I mean, that's what professionals do, right? They get paid for what they do. I always thought if I reached those goals, I would feel happy, I would feel appreciated, and I would be satisfied with my work. But now, like years later, I founded my own company. I'm making good money with what I do. I get booked from the biggest production companies in Germany for my job as a director. I've won several awards, and still I see myself in doubt a lot of times. I always, as soon as I open up Instagram and I follow the work of all the other directors there are, I always feel like, okay, my work is just complete shit. I can't help myself. I mean, I'm happy with my work for a week or two or whatever, but as soon as I see other work, I always compare it and I think, okay, you could have done better. You should be more creative. You should do something different. That really sucks. I mean, every creative probably knows that feeling, right? But somehow, like during the last year, I kind of got to a point where I realized that this feeling might never go, and it might not even be related to the work I do. For example, I've always been a fan of Lukas Thielke's work. He's a German-based director, and I've always loved his work, and he's always been like a few steps ahead of my work. A year ago or two, he would probably say that he absolutely loves Solomon Lighthelm's work. Solomon is a New York-based director with like the best work ever, basically for us Germans. And a year ago, I met Solomon in Cannes, and I had a little chat with him, and he would say, "Oh man, I'm really not satisfied with my work. This director and that director and that director, they do so much better work than I do. And even if I win all these awards, it doesn't really mean that I'm happy with my work." And at that point, I kind of thought, okay, like I'll never be as good as Solomon Lighthelm. And if he's not really happy with his work, nobody else can be, basically. So during the last year, I kind of realized that not being happy with your own work doesn't necessarily have to do with the quality of your work. And I always got this line of Macklemore's songs. I don't know which song it is, but I always got his line in my mind, which says, "True artists are never satisfied." And I don't want to see me as like a true artist, but I'd say that not being satisfied with your own work actually isn't a bad thing, to a certain point, of course, because not being satisfied with your work means that you've got the drive and the urge to get better, to do better, to improve your work. If you were satisfied with your first work ever, you would stay on the same level of quality, and you would not have the drive to get better. And of course, I find myself a lot of times scrolling through Instagram, following the other director's work, and thinking, okay, my work is full of shit. But that kind of mindset of realizing, okay, probably every creative in the world is not 100% satisfied with his work, and also knowing that not being satisfied with your own work means that you want to get better. It helps me a lot, taking out of that pressure of always seeing your work as complete failure. So yeah, to cut a long story short, keep in mind that your dissatisfaction with your own work, with your own creations, is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It will help you get better. It will help you to improve your work and your creativity. Don't be too strict on yourself. I will try not to be too strict to my work. And again, I'm really, really, really sorry I won't make it to the Creative Mornings in Munich. I hope you're happy with Marko's talk. And you are all invited officially now to the Friends and Fellows summer party on the 20th of July. Please just write an email if you want to join, if you want to have a drink with me, and probably Marko is around too, as a little excuse for my non-appearance at the Creative Mornings. Yeah, just write a mail to arnie@friendsandfellows.com or to Marko, and yeah, we'll see each other on the 20th of July in Munich at Friends and Fellows Summer Party. Have a good one. Bye.
Yeah, that's Arne.
By the way, in Ruby Marie, one of our hotels in Vienna. Advertising.
Nice. Yeah, so I'm Marko. I'm also a director, same as Arne. I'm working in the commercial field. Arne called me last week, and I was drunk in Cannes. And he asked me what I'm doing today, and I was like, nothing so far. And then he was like, okay, now you have to hold a speech in front of some creative people. And I was like, all right, I do that. Yeah, like Arne already said, he's on a shoot in Austria. He's shooting a commercial for a German craftsman's store. He sent me this video yesterday, so I think he's having a good time. And as he said, he's super sorry to not be here, and he would love to meet you all at the Friends and Fellows Summer Party, which is actually super nice. It's not like one of those stiff events where you just don't want to show up. It's super cool, free drinks, free gin tonic. You should definitely come if you're in Munich. Yeah, are you satisfied with your own work? That's the topic I want to talk about today. But I'm not focusing on this whole topic. I think Arne talked a lot about it, and everybody knows this feeling that we're kind of not satisfied with what we're doing. It's not only in the creative industry. I think it's this human thing that we always compare ourselves to someone who's better and to someone who's more experienced, or doing more money, or having more awards or whatever. So I'm trying to focus more on tips and tricks how to deal with that, and how to embrace that feeling, to motivate yourself and to do better on your next project, I guess. So are you satisfied with your own work? I'm always talking a lot with other creators about this topic, especially when we publish a new film. After 1 or 2 weeks, there's another film which is maybe the same topic or shot on the same location. You're like, okay, that's better, my film is outdated now. So I always talk a lot about this topic with other creators, and the takeaways I got out of those conversations are pretty simple, but they helped me personally a lot, and I think they could help you as well. So what I always do is, when I'm in doubt of my work, I ask myself, okay, what have I done 1 year ago? I take my recent film and I compare it to the film from 1 year ago. And you will always see a kind of development or a process. it doesn't mean that 1 year ago your work was shit and now your work is good. It could also mean that 1 year ago you were in the documentary field and you wanted to come to the commercial field. So there's always a progress going on. I think that's super important because that's something we don't realize when we're just in our work, in our daily process, that we don't see, okay, we've actually achieved something over 1 year, and we should not always compare ourselves to the best in the business. We should rather compare ourselves to the work we've done a year ago or 2 years ago. That's something which helped me a lot, and where I realized, okay, my work is not shit. I've actually achieved something. Yeah, like I said, do not compare yourself to the best. I know that's a habit for us, for creatives, that we always have our idols and we check what they're doing and we try to get as close to their work as possible. But what I've experienced over the last year is that even like the director Arne was talking about, Salomon Leitem, he's this badass director from New York. Everybody loves his work. And what I've experienced, if you compare yourself to him, it's not really fair because he has totally different financial support. He has totally different access to equipment. He has totally different access to people supporting him. So everything is so different to your environment, I guess. So that's not fair to compare yourself to this guy. So keep in mind to compare yourself rather to yourself than to the best out there. What are your goals? Where are you heading? Where are you running forward? I think that's also a typical topic, not only in the creative industry, that we don't really have our goals, that we don't really set our goals. We know we want to be big, we want to be famous, we want to reach out to people, we want to be the Salomon Leitem in 2 years. But we don't really set smaller goals or bigger goals. And what I've experienced over the years, you have to write them down. It's super old school, I know that, but you have to write them down in a notebook or whatever, like small goals, for example. Last year, my biggest goal was to win an award with my film at the Cannes Festival, the Young Director Award, which is pretty much the biggest award for young directors out there, where you get international exposure and where all my idols are receiving awards right now. And last week, as I said, I was in Cannes and I was actually shortlisted with my film, Kiru, at the Young Director Award. And I was like, shit, okay, I have to go there. I really want to win gold or silver, whatever. Then I was at the award show and I didn't win. I was just shortlisted. And I was totally disappointed. And then 2 days later, a friend of mine told me, man, 1 year ago you were dreaming of being at this festival and right now you've achieved it, but you're not satisfied with what you've done. So I think the point there is you should have this notebook or note on your cell phone or whatever, where you really write down your goals. It can be small goals, can be big goals. Just write them down. And if you're not really satisfied with your work, check this list and you will see that you've actually achieved a few of those goals, and that you should take the time to celebrate your achievements. That's also something Germans don't really do. They don't celebrate their achievements. They're always working harder to reach out to something bigger. So I think what's super important there, take the time, celebrate your achievements, and even if you have achieved one of your goals, write down the next goal, because it's super important to have that list so that you know what you actually wanted to achieve. What if the result sucks? That happens sometimes. That your film or whatever sucks, not because of your skills or the skills of your team. I want to focus more on working with clients and agencies in this case, because I've experienced over the last 2 years that you can put so much time, passion, sweat into a project, but when other people who are also there working with you on that film, like an agency or a client, is not really on the same level with you, or don't want to achieve the same kind of film, the same kind of feeling, then the result can definitely suck big time. I brought you an example from a commercial I shot last year for the Ironman, the marathon. My passion was super strong for that project. I was super motivated to do a great emotional piece where we focus on, or where we question the hard training behind a marathon athlete. And the client was super into the whole idea, super into the whole concept. And then in the end, when we shot it and we edited it, the whole thing went south, because all the small things came up. Like, we have to include our sponsor, who's producing those clocks. We have to show the hotel the athletes are staying in. We have to show more cheering up. We have to show more smiles. No, that's too sad. That's too tough. I don't want to show pain. I'm like, man, that's the whole concept. There's pain involved. So why don't you want to show it? So what happened there is that the expectations were too far away, and that the client's version really, really sucked big time. What I've told myself then, that I should always try to fight as hard as possible for my concept, but when you feel that there are so many people working against you, just detach yourself from it and do your director's cut, which is basically your own version, how you wanted to have the film. I brought you both versions, the director's cuts and the client's version. I'm not going to tell you what is which, but I'm sure you will figure it out. I hope so.
What gives you that drive?
The race is on.
That drive for the early mornings and the late nights. That drive for the steep streets and the never-ending tracks. What gives you that drive to ignore the pain and push harder? Deep inside, you know where that drive comes from. But sometimes it's good to be reminded.
That's version number 1. That's version number 2.
What gives you that drive? That drive for the early mornings and the late nights. That drive for the steep streets and the never-ending tracks. What gives you that drive to ignore the pain and push harder? Deep inside, you know where that drive comes from. But sometimes it's good to be reminded. Get ready, 27th August, Ironman 70.3 in Zell am See, Kaprun, between glacier, mountains, and the lake.
That was actually the worst part. All those logos in the end of all those sponsors and everything. Yeah, so I think you got the point that sometimes it's hard to fight the client and fight the agency, but I've experienced that you should just detach yourself from the project and do your own director's cut. Yeah, I've had a lot of discussion about this topic because some of the agency guys I talk with, they want you to fight as a director for the concept, but as I said, at some point it's just impossible to do that. Yeah, like I said, you should manage expectations from the beginning on. So my takeaway from this was that I always talk to the agency or the client before we start shooting or before we start the whole project, and I ask them, is it a money project for you or is it a passion project for you? Because if it's a money project, I'm fine with that, but I'm not going to put all my sweat into that. I'm just going to do whatever they want, and that's fine. But if it's a passion project for the client or for the agency as well, we're going to put in more time, and then the expectations are hopefully on the same level. So in the beginning, you should always manage expectations. And don't waste your energy on discussing everything with the client or the agency. Yeah, another super important thing, what I've done over the past years, and I think which I will always continue to do, is passion projects. You have to keep the balance between finance or money projects and passion projects because we all have to pay our rent. But when you're depressed with your own work because you're maybe just shooting I don't know, Klopapier commercials, then you should maybe just skip that and do a passion project, because then you're fulfilled again with creativity. You can surround yourself by like-minded people and just do your own film. And I think there are so many people telling me always, oh man, I get so much commercial work, but I'm really not satisfied with what I'm doing. And I always tell them, okay, if you have so much money, why don't you just do your own film and fulfill your dream and fulfill your passion and create something you really believe in. So I do 2 or 3 passion projects a year. This project where you see all the screen grabs from is a project I shot in April in Dakar in Senegal. It's a portrait about a wrestler. Wrestling is pretty big in Senegal. It's like the national sport. They have, same as here in Germany, 6 or 7 superstars who earn millions and billions, and they have all those wannabe wrestlers like Kiru, like you see him here, who's trying to get out of the poorness and who's trying to get out of this environment to earn money with wrestling. But it's super hard to earn money like that. And like I said, last week in Cannes, we were shortlisted at the Cannes Lions Film Festival at the Young Director Award with that film. We didn't win, but as I said, I was shortlisted, so I'm celebrating my achievement there. Yeah, and I want to show you the film Kiru we shot there. Yeah. Thanks. This whole project was self-funded. We were a team of 3 people, DP, me as a director, and a camera assistant. We had a local fixer, and we just went there for 10 days. We didn't really know if Keru, the guy, the wrestler, will let us in his story and in his life. So it was a huge risk, but in the end, we got all this great footage and came home with that film. So I think that's the great thing about passion projects, that you don't need to write down a director's interpretation, that you don't need to do a pitch, that you don't need to do a mood board. You just have your thoughts in your mind and you just go out with like-minded people and create something and work really, and not only pitch. Yeah, I think the last quote is a super good ending for my talk as well. Everybody is a failure, at least the best of us are. That quote actually helps me also a lot, that if you fail in this industry, which you do a lot, that just keep in mind everybody else is doing the same thing, and it's about getting up and proceeding with your stuff, what you do. Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can actually email me as well, because Arne wanted me to write down his emails for the Friends and Fellows summer party, but you can just email me as well and let me know if you want to come. We can send you all the information. You can check out my work at markoroth.de, and you can call me anytime if you have a job for me. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What did Keru say, or how did you feel about the project in the end?
He's not a man of a lot of words, so I sent him the link of the finished film, and he was just replying, "Cool, Marko." So that was it. But we got to know Keru. We got to know Keru's story because a very famous photographer, Christian Bobs, did a photo series about him 4 years ago, and this photo series won all those journalism photo awards and everything. So I saw those photos, I contacted Christian, the photographer, and he got us in touch with Keru. So Keru is pretty, he's pretty famous actually in the European media houses. If you Google him, you will find all the articles on Focus, Spiegel, because this photo series went pretty much viral. So I guess he's used to fame. He actually got a Polish wife because of this photo series. It's pretty funny.
And he's not a wrestler anymore.
No, he stopped wrestling. There was a super interesting part, because we came there with the intention to produce like a motivational Nike commercial. If you work hard, you can do it, you can achieve your dreams. So we shot all this footage. On the last day, I did the interview with him, and the first sentence he was saying, like, "Yeah, I'm gonna quit." Like, oh. My story just went south. But I think that's the cool thing about the film, that we are having not another success story, but we have a failure story. And Keru is trying to do boxing now, because that's a little bit easier to earn money than wrestling. Yeah. Any other questions?
You talked about doing passion projects, that it's something really important to incorporate in your balance all the commercial stuff.
Yeah.
And like what would you see as good goals for passion projects? Because it's not about the money, you said, or I mean, how can you then not end up being dissatisfied? Setting one goal, or
yeah. So my goal with that passion project was, I mean, we all do it to extend our show reel, to have something to show future clients, that's for sure. And I wanted to go more into sports, so that's why we choose that topic as well, to show potential sport clients. But my goal with that film was to hand it into the Young Director Award and to get shortlisted or win something there. Yeah. And we all shot it on, the whole film was shot on 60mm film actually, so no digital film. We only had 10 rolls of Kodak 500G stock. That means we had 1 hour to shoot, which is really pretty stressful to know, because every time you push record, the money just flows out, and you only have 1 hour and you can't do more than that. So that was also a huge learning for the whole crew, for the DP and for myself, to shoot like that. Because right now when we shoot a commercial, pretty much all the time the camera's rolling and you're like, yeah, just record it, we will see in the edit if we need it. But there you have to really think twice about what you're filming and if you want to film it, and you have to practice everything. And it was a tough week because we didn't have a storyboard, everything was kind of documentary style. And Kiru didn't understand us, so yeah, it was a tough call, but it was super fun. Yeah.
Is still Cannes your next? I don't know. What gives you the power for the next step that you want to do? Most of all, because I see that it's so important for you. This other type of projects to also feel that you're doing the right thing. And in Cannes, everything that, or most of what goes, is from clients that have a lot of money in those type of projects, and it's not really, it won't match to some of the things that you're doing in these passion projects. Is it still your next goal to reach something in Cannes, or have you found now?
Actually, last week was the first time for me in Cannes, so I got to know Cannes and the whole week a little bit better. I think it's still a goal of mine to win something at the Young Director Award in Cannes, for sure. But that's not my main motivation, I guess. The main motivation is just to really work, because right now, as a young director, you're pitching a lot, you're doing a lot of treatments, but you're not work. You're not on set, you're not filming. And I think that's the main reason I do passion projects, because sometimes I just want to tell everybody to fuck off. Okay, I'm gonna work now, I'm gonna do my own thing. And that's super cool with a passion project. You can just do whatever you want. There's no agency or client who tells you what to do. I hope there are not too many agency people here. Yeah. Another question? Yeah.
Why did you shoot on real film, actual film?
I could give you a long answer now. First of all, what I just said, because of the learning for the whole crew, I think I've learned more in directing in this shoot in those 10 days than I have in my whole studies at university, because it's super, super intense. You have to have the edit in your head, you have to practice the acting, basically. So it's super intense, and the learning is super good. And the second thing is just the look and the colors. It's just amazing for the film nerds. That you have those real colors, that you have the real grain, that it looks like very moody and rough and everything. So I think that was also a very good fit to the whole topic and to the whole environment in Senegal, because everything is super rough, dirty, messed up there. And it's a huge trend kind of right now that a lot of commercials get actually shot on film, because people realize that the colors and the whole moody feeling, you can't really get that with a digital camera.
And a short outlook, next month we have a new topic, it's intention, and sure we'll keep you updated online as always where and when a next talk will be. But maybe a short remark, like because of the data security stuff, all the newsletter subscriptions kind of went down. I know it myself, I mean, you cannot click all those emails to keep up and subscribe again, but yeah, just in case you realize that you haven't got a new newsletter, you should check your subscription again, and also maybe remind all your fellow creatives who were part of Creative Mornings to check it, so we can make sure you all get the emails and invitations. Yeah. yeah, so thanks again, and yeah, maybe you enjoy some more coffee and breakfast, and hope you enjoyed the talk.
Ciao.